Red Hat has been sued for racial discrimination by a former employee. This was bound to happen. Only a few months ago, the Lunduke Journal, along with James O'Keefe, published a mountain of leaked material from within inside Red Hat and parent company IBM showing a stated policy, a set of goals, and a systematic effort to discriminate against employees based on skin color, ethnicity, gender. It was horrific. The amount of material leaked, the amount of evidence in this was off the charts. And now, as of yesterday afternoon, May 8th, 2024, a lawsuit has been filed by America First Legal against Red Hat exactly for that racial discrimination. It was unavoidable, and my guess is this is not going to be the last lawsuit we see along this because it's just such an utter slam dunk. I'm going to read the announcement to you now from America First Legal, and then I'm going to go through a little bit of the lawsuit because we've got the whole PDF file here, as well as some really interesting bits that came out because of this. Quote, "We just filed a federal lawsuit against IBM subsidiary Red Hat for illegal racial discrimination." The biggest Linux company in the world. Holy heaven. I'll read the thing now. I'll stop opining. IBM has allegedly implemented illegal anti-white and anti-male quotas. We will use every tool to hold IBM accountable. With our co-counsel, including Barnes Law, we filed a lawsuit on behalf of our client against the International Business Machines Corporation, IBM, subsidiary Red Hat, for violating civil rights laws by allegedly engaging in discriminatory employment and termination practices against white males. This absolutely happened. They were bragging about it. I'll continue reading. I'll save commentary for later. I'm sorry. This is just, it's great to see this actually happening. It's great to see Red Hat actually being held accountable for their illegal activities. They continue. Our plaintiff is a white male and was a dutiful Red Hat employee for 8 years, rising to the position of senior director. He was an exemplary employee who had never received a negative review during his time at Red Hat. But for the discrimination he faced, he was on the path to becoming one of the top executives at Red Hat. In 2021, Red Hat began implementing illegal diversity, equity, and inclusion (DEI) requirements. In accordance with its illegal activities, Red Hat hired a chief executive officer of DEI to spearhead these programs, mandating employee training while implementing employee quotas aimed at achieving diversity goals by illegally treating race as a dispositive factor for employment and advancement. On several occasions, managers and executives at Red Hat commented to our plaintiff and other employees expressing their dismay at the lack of diversity in the workforce and their desire to achieve certain workforce quotas based on race and gender. Red Hat executives indicated that these DEI initiatives would influence certain hiring and employment decisions. Our plaintiff was vocal about his opposition to these discriminatory policies and continuously advocated for hiring based on merit and skill rather than other immutable characteristics. This is what we've been talking about. There is a war on meritocracy in these companies. I'm sorry. I'll continue. Red Hat made express statements, both vocally and in writing, at company events that were derogatory towards white individuals and presented an anti-white agenda. Red Hat also remarked on the low number of women employed and expressed anti-male rhetoric. Red Hat made it clear that it was going to implement heightened DEI policies with the sole intent of increasing diversity. Red Hat has made it clear that it is in favor of discriminatory policies that the Supreme Court has found unconstitutional. In the case of Students for Fair Admissions versus Harvard, decided together with Student for Fair Admissions v. University of North Carolina, Red Hat, along with 70 other corporations, filed an amicus brief with the U.S. Supreme Court of affirmative action. And I'm going to read that to you right now. Indeed, Red Hat has made it clear that it is in favor of discriminatory policies that the Supreme Court has found unconstitutional. In the case of Students for Fair Admissions v. Hardware, decided together with the same case versus University of North Carolina, Red Hat, along with 70 other corporations, filed an amicus brief to the U.S. Supreme Court in support of affirmative action. In an August 2022 email, Red Hat boasted of the company's involvement in this effort to its employees, claiming that Red Hat was, quote, proud to join this effort to ask the U.S. Supreme Court to continue to allow colleges to consider race as one of the many factors in admissions so that colleges can produce a diverse pipeline of graduates. Okay. They continue with the announcement. At a kickoff event in Texas, Red Hat brazenly announced its bold DEI goals, which included quotas. Red Hat sought to remake its workforce demographic, seeking to reach 30% women globally and 30% associates of color in the United States by 2028. Just 2 weeks after this announcement, our plaintiff was informed by his manager that his role was being eliminated following several months of discriminatory treatment. Upon information and belief, 21 of the total 22 individuals that were let go were white males. Last year, James O'Keefe released a recording of IBM Chief Executive Officer and Board Chairman Arvind Krishna promising to fire, demote, or deny bonuses to corporate executives who fail to meet the corporation's racial, national origin, and sex-based hiring quotas, or hire too many Asian individuals. Following this shocking footage, we filed a federal civil rights complaint with the EEOC against IBM for alleged racial and sex discrimination. We also wrote to IBM's board of directors demanding an end to the corporation's systematic violations of law to prevent the waste of corporate assets and harm to shareholders. Here's the part of that there. Today, we are proud to file this lawsuit to continue to fight corporate America's destructive, illegal, and odious use of the illegal DEI initiatives that are fundamentally anti-white, anti-male, and anti-equality. Also, I would add anti-Asian, because that's just a thing that is true there. Now, this lawsuit has been filed, and it is an obvious one. There was so much material posted. Let me see. Do I have this here? I'll include links, by the way, to all of the things that we're discussing here, wherever you're watching this show, whether it's on Locals or in the podcast or over on Rumble or Twitter or heaven forbid YouTube. I'll put links there so you can follow along here. The What We've Learned So Far article, I'm keeping that updated. I've updated it as of yesterday afternoon to include this material. It includes all of the leaks that James O'Keefe leaked, as well as all of the leaks that the Lunduke Journal leaked, which is a lot. Which is a whole heck of a lot. And I've done it all in chronological order with little bullet points of what we learned from each, but also linking to the articles, announcing them with all of the material, all of the presentations, everything is all in there in full, including the allyship kickoff presentation, which is absolutely this massive presentation about how white people are evil and all these sorts of things. There's 2 videos in here, including the one that James O'Keefe leaked, and then with the IBM CEO, and then the one that the Lunduke Journal leaked with the CEO of Red Hat. And again, they reiterate over and over again that they have quotas to make sure that of how few white people, specifically white male, that they need to hire, and how they're going to reward their executives for hiring fewer numbers of white men. It's ridiculous. And I want to be really clear about this. It doesn't matter if the goal is to hire less white men or less Asian women or less black men or less Latino women. It doesn't matter what the demographic is. It's always wrong, right? This is racial and gender discrimination. This is not okay. And it is illegal. More to the point, it is illegal with huge amounts of precedent already set for this. Now, I want to take a quick look at the actual lawsuit. And again, I'll link to this so you can go check this out as well. The law firm has published the entire PDF of the complaint. And there's a few really interesting tidbits in here I want to point out. The first is if you check out the top of it, they are demanding a jury trial. And this is a really, really important thing here, because if they don't have a jury trial for this, they're at the whims of whatever judge they get, right? They get a singular judge, which it could go either way, right? So if you get a person who's a bit of an activist on the bench, you're not going to win in this case. If a person who's like, yeah, DEI is great, even though it's illegal, they're probably going to rule against you. I mean, we've seen this sort of thing happen from time and time again. A jury of their peers, however, that's a whole different story, because now it's difficult to make the case to the average person that Red Hat's actions are anything other than racial discrimination, when Red Hat blatantly says, yay, we are racially discriminating, right? Like they proudly proclaim it. So it's going to be very difficult for Red Hat to defend themselves against a jury of people who are going to be sitting there going, so Red Hat, you think we should find you not guilty because you do racially discriminate and the law says you can't? This is a big deal. Jury of their peers is a big deal. So they're demanding a jury trial. We'll see what gets granted in this case. Now, one of the other things I want to call out here. Let's scroll down here to page 13 of this document. And page 13 is going to be the prayer for relief, right? So, wherefore plaintiff respectfully prays for the following relief, right? So this basically declares what the plaintiff is asking for, what they're asking for from Red Hat. And I'm just going to read it all to you because this is the information we have. A declaration that the defendant discriminated against the plaintiff in violation of Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. That's a big one, because if Red Hat is forced to declare that by the court, this is going to open up the floodgates for lawsuits against Red Hat and against IBM and against other companies that are doing this exact same thing right now. This is a huge deal. Like this is the dam breaking deal. This is a big thing. B, a declaration that the defendant discriminated against the plaintiff in violation of 42 U.S.C. 1981. Again, a similar big issue. Once Red Hat's been found to be in violation of that, holy heavens. C, a declaration that defendant violated the Family Medical Leave Act. There was an issue relating to family medical leave in this as well. They granted him family medical leave, and I'm summarizing, so hopefully I get the details correct. They granted him family medical leave, and because his wife was very sick, and he needed to take care of her. And something like a couple of days afterwards, they called him back into the office to fire him for being too white. Holy heavens, the cojones on Red Hat. D, enjoin and permanently restrain the violations alleged herein. Oh, yeah. Basically, you can't do that no more. E, award compensatory damages to make the plaintiff whole for all lost earnings, earning capacity, and benefits which the plaintiff has suffered as a result of defendant's improper and discriminatory conduct. That number could end up being very large, because who's to say how long he would have continued to work at Red Hat? It sounded like he'd worked there for 8 years, never had a complaint against him, always had positive reviews, and was already at the director level. So what are the odds that he continued working at Red Hat and then went to the executive level? Actually potentially high. Not necessarily 100%, but theoretically high, and Red Hat used illegal racial discrimination in order to deprive him of that, so they would be responsible for compensating him for all of that. F, award compensatory damages to plaintiff for past pain and suffering, emotional distress, mental anguish, humiliation, and loss of life's pleasures, which plaintiff has suffered as a result of defendant's improper and discriminatory conduct. That number could be a lot higher. That number could be mammoth and monstrous. And I do not see how Red Hat wins this one. I do not see a path to victory for Red Hat's lawyers on this at all. No matter how they want to, especially if they get a jury. Holy heavens. G, award compensatory and punitive damage to plaintiff under Title VII. H, award compensatory and punitive damage to plaintiff under 42 U.S.C. 1981. And I, an order that plaintiff be awarded other such damages as are appropriate pursuant to applicable or federal state law. J, an order that defendant pays plaintiff's costs associated with bringing this lawsuit, including his reasonable attorney's fees and costs. And K, a grant of any such further relief as the court deems necessary and proper in the public interest. Holy heavens. So that is what is being asked for. There are massive implications and ramifications for the entire tech industry and companies all throughout the United States based on this case. This is a massive case. I mean, don't make no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Whatever side of the DEI debate you sit on, this case is absolutely massive and huge. I want to also bring up one other thing, because this is really interesting. If we scroll down, let's go into the exhibits here, and there's lots of interesting stuff here. There's emails. I think, is this Exhibit B? No, that's not Exhibit B. Exhibit C is emails within Red Hat. Interesting stuff. We'll be getting into those a little bit later. But if you scroll down to Exhibit D. Exhibit D in this lawsuit is fascinating because this is a tidbit that we didn't have before. Now, the Lunduke Journal has published a huge number of leaks from inside Red Hat. A huge number. We've published leaks from their internal Slack channels. We've published internal emails and instant messaging communication. We've published videos. We've published entire presentations and whole PowerPoint slide decks, massive amounts of stuff. But one of the things that I'd been looking to get my hands on was the complete company meeting from June 7th of 2023. This company meeting is important because this company meeting specifically calls out some of their DEI goals, and it gets referenced repeatedly in a lot of the leaked materials that we have, but I hadn't been able to get my hands on the entire copy. This lawsuit has it. And I've gone ahead and republished it in a kind of an easy to read manner. I'll link to it here. Thanks to this lawsuit, we have the whole thing. I've published all the slides. It's not many. It's like 9 slides. But if you scroll down a ways, some of it's very straightforward. Some of it has nothing to do with this particular lawsuit. It just has to do with overall strategies for Red Hat. But when you get to slide number 5, things start to move towards the diversity, equity, inclusion side of things. They start to mention how they want to do it. They mention where they're at and what their goals are within Red Hat in relating to hiring less white people and less Asians, because they really don't want to hire so many white people and Asians. And they start stating their goals, and they make the flat out statement that here's our 30% number. And this gets referenced a lot by the IBM CEO and the Red Hat CEO, and now we finally have that original slide deck there. And so I've republished it there more for informational and factual purposes than anything else. There's not a lot of brand new material in these slides that we don't already have in the many slides and leaks and videos that, again, are all posted and already available over at the Lunduke Journal at lunduke.locals.com. So again, I'll link to this so you can see what we've learned so far. At the very end of that, I've included that company meeting slide deck so that you guys all have it. It's just yet another thing that backs up all of the mountain of material that I've been publishing for months now. And I would like to take a moment here, just for a moment. When I began publishing these leaked materials back last December, there was a mountain of people out there, including tech journalists, YouTubers, podcasters, and just general random people on social media who declared that the material I was publishing was clearly fake. Oh, it's fake, and Lunduke is evil, and this Lunduke Journal thing is, oh, that's bubkus, and they're publishing fake material, and oh, don't believe a word of it. Well, as the days and weeks and months have dragged on, not only has Red Hat not denied any of it, and we've managed to obtain an increasingly large number of sources backing up all of this material. We now have active lawsuits with proof of a lot of this material inside the lawsuit itself. This material is proven to be 100% accurate and factual. What's fascinating, though, is you will probably not hear a single one of those journalists, YouTubers, podcasters, or social media armchair quarterbacks come out and say, oh, they got it wrong. The Lunduke Journal was completely accurate in their reporting. But that is the case. So I would like to point out again that the Lunduke Journal tirelessly researched every single item before it was published. We made sure we had multiple sources. I made sure there was multiple sources backing up each items, the presentations, the videos, etc., before they were published. And that diligence has paid off, because now we have an absolute mountain of evidence that is heavily researched, heavily vetted, 100% accurate. Nobody has been able to dispute even a drop of it. Not from Red Hat, not from IBM, not from anybody. And we have even more with these lawsuits coming out, more material that backs up all of that original material that got leaked, right? So this is pretty exciting. And why is it exciting? Because it is forcing this issue to be covered by everybody. We now have a lawsuit that's happening that could have massive legal ramifications for Red Hat, IBM, and far beyond. How the press out there will cover it remains to be seen, but at some point, they're now going to have to cover it. Maybe they'll spin it for Red Hat. Maybe they'll glance over it as quickly as they can so they don't have too much egg on their face. I guarantee you, however, whatever coverage they do, it will include as few references to the Lunduke Journal as possible, even if they, as they so often do, screenshot and directly quote the work of the Lunduke Journal. Because that's just how it goes. Because the Lunduke Journal is right too often, and that makes them mad. Anyway, thank you to all of the subscribers of the Lunduke Journal for making this sort of reporting possible. We are literally holding truth to power. We are speaking out and speaking the truth when so few are. And it is entirely thanks to the people who subscribe at lunduke.locals.com. This could not be done without you. So if you have not yet subscribed, please do. We don't take any money from big tech. We do no advertising dollars. All of our revenue is derived 100% from subscriptions and donations from people like you. And that's it. That's it, and that's all. That way, no company can tell us what to think, what to publish, what to censor, what to talk about, nothing. Not even in the back of my head. I can never sit around and think, I want to push the publish button, but what will that company think about that? How will that impact my corporate advertisers and what? I never have to think about any of that. I just simply think, is this the truth? Is it important that I publish this truth? Publish. That's what I get to do, thanks to all of you. If you go to lunduke.com, you will find a site called Lunduke Journal Link Central. It's a very simple site with a lot of links on it. You'll find links to the RSS podcast feed, so if you want to watch the audio version, you can find just links to a large number of articles, including a link to the IBM Red Hat Leaks What We've Learned So Far article that lists everything we just showed you, and articles on Firefox and Wikipedia and Mozilla and so many other organizations. And not all of it is very political. In fact, very little of it even touches on politics. Most of it is computer history, and computer history like you will not get it anywhere else. We regularly bust common myths of computer history. So you can go in there and read historical articles so you can literally be the smartest person about computer facts and history at any party. Go to any tech conference. If you read all of these articles before going to a tech conference, you will literally be the belle of the ball. You will be the smartest person in the room. There's tons of them there, and there's more if you are a subscriber to the Lunduke Journal at lunduke.locals.com. There is a content page where you can sort and search through an absolute mountain of ever-expanding articles over there at the Lunduke Journal. So again, thank you to all the subscribers for making it possible. Thank you to everyone who has leaked material to the Lunduke Journal. In fact, if you go to lunduke.com, there is a link right there that says, looking to be a whistleblower, here's how to leak files and info to the Lunduke Journal anonymously. Right, you are more than welcome to contact the Lunduke Journal. Again, go check out that link using whatever email address you want. But if you want to do it anonymously, you want to be able to send in large files, videos, presentations, screenshots, whatever, there's exactly how to do it. The Lunduke Journal has a very firm policy of not exposing or publishing in any way the identity or any identifiable material of people who leak this information to us. Very firm. We haven't yet, and we never will. In fact, I go through every single file I receive. I carefully vet it, and if it is fit for publication, meaning I can prove that it is factual, and with a very high level of reliability, and it makes sense to publish, I will then scrub the heck out of it, right? I will not publish anything with metadata, file names, or any on-screen material that could lead back to the person who leaked it to me, unless you tell me it's okay. But unless you tell me, go ahead, let the world know who I am, I'm going to make sure that your privacy is respected to the best of my ability. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't scrub your own material first if you want to, just to be 100% sure. Better safe than sorry. But if you follow the instructions there, again, go to lunduke.com. There's a how to be a whistleblower link there. If you follow those instructions, you should be pretty good to go. So thank you to all the whistleblowers who have come forward so far for information on IBM, Red Hat, Microsoft, and others. You are doing good work. You are exposing to sunlight things that need to be disinfected. So thank you, and I'm proud of you. I'm darn proud of you. Of course, I will keep everyone up to date as this court case moves forward, because the implications are going to be absolutely massive. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, nerds and nerdettes across the inner tubes, I do declare, end broadcast.